We are live with Mornings with Lone Star, broadcasting live from the Lone Star Community Radio Studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Today is March the 21st. It is a beautiful day here in Conroe, Texas. We'll get to the weather here in a moment, but just want to say welcome. We are broadcasting live on our Facebook channel, irlonestar.com/MWLoneStar for all the connections and how to listen. And then we're also on our YouTube channel and then Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. Don't forget, we have a special guest at 9:30 today. If you're interested in a person who does his own podcast, business-wise, it's a business-themed podcast, and he's also a wealth advisor. We have Daniel Goodwin. He's going to be in the studio at 9:30 a.m. this morning. So if you have questions for him, feel free to chat him up on our chat options on our live feeds. So, and I'll try to juggle those today. Let's move on a little bit to the weather for Conroe and Montgomery County. It is 53 degrees outside. 76 degrees is going to be the high, and the low is going to be 48. It's going to be sunny the entire day. It's going to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Looking at your weekend forecast, it's going to be going and changing a lot because we expected rain all day Saturday and Sunday, but what it looks like right now is Saturday is just going to be mostly cloudy with a 15 to 20% chance of rain, and then Sunday the rain is going to be coming our way in the afternoon right now. That's what it looks like. So no telling what really is going to happen. But, yeah, moving on. If you missed yesterday's episode, please check it out at irlonestar.com. It was a fun, full of several different topics, which, by the way, influenced one of our listeners, Jay Stittleberg, to come on our show yet. He said he listened. And he's
coming back?
He wants to come back. Did I get you?
There we go.
There we go.
Is he coming back? Awesome.
Yeah, he's coming back. I probably need to put our camera on, don't I? Yeah, there we go. Change that one.
There we go.
But yeah, so he wants to come in next week, so keep an eye out on our calendar, on our Facebook event page, and see when we're coming back live. And we are going to be here tomorrow. I do know that. Tomorrow's going to be a fun show. And who's our guest tomorrow? The president, right?
Yeah.
Of the United States
Joseph
for 2020?
Pepe.
I really hope it's Pepe.
Yeah.
We've been saying it incorrectly.
James Pepe. I don't know.
But yeah, so we're going to have him in the studio tomorrow, I believe around 10 o'clock. So if you have questions for the future president of the United States, he lives in Montgomery, he's running for office. This is a real deal, folks. This isn't a joke. So he really is running for the Republican ticket. And we have Dan in the studio. But yeah, so again, if you have questions for Dan, we're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And then, yeah, moving on, that's going to be around 9:30, Dan. So if you just want to jump in at any point to talk about what we're talking about, because Sean usually has a couple headlines we like to go over. And Sean, hit me up. What do you want? What do you want to talk about
I'm a little bummed because you remember yesterday we talked about the news flash came that the Deer Park fire was out at ITC, and I hope that it was out and didn't flash back up. Well, it flashed back up.
So I'm not going to lie. Yesterday when you were telling me all about it, I didn't listen. And that's cool. I didn't really understand what you were talking about. I was like, oh, another fire, big deal.
Just because the fire's out doesn't necessarily mean it's out.
Is this at a chemical plant?
Yeah.
So a chemical plant caught on fire, and now people are freaking out because when chemicals burn, something goes into the atmosphere that could potentially kill everythest
Yeah, do you know what the second biggest killer in a house fire or office fire is?
Your face.
So the biggest killer is asphyxiation because the fire sucks up the oxygen.
Okay.
And people think smoke inhalation. No, smoke inhalation is number three. Number two is the burning of fabrics and materials can create cyanide.
Really?
And so it's actual like cyanide poisoning, toxic poisoning.
So, but this is at a plant though. Everyone's gone, right? Everyone left the plant.
Yeah, but the smoke from the fire
is that thick.
Is
I saw they're closing school. They're closing schools and stuff.
Yeah, 225 is shut down.
Can you imagine that one poor soul who's like in the morning just kind of doing his normal morning routine, he's sweeping the front porch and stuff, and he's like, I can't really breathe. Has anyone passed away due to this?
No, there have been no deaths.
So we're actually doing something right as an emergency routine. We're actually informing people to leave and.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's been a. Are
you texting somebody?
No. I'm about getting rid of someone's name. Trying to call up someone's name so I can back up a point. But no, so there's a shelter in place going down. Schools have been closed. Now there's benzene. They're monitoring the benzene levels in the air because that's what the biggest concern is. So far, so good. Now the new Harris County judge who replaced Ed Emmett is currently Lena Hidalgo.
Oh yeah, the young lady.
Yeah, who like is
Well, this is a
talk
good
about
way to
baptism by fire.
throw her in the deep end, right?
Oh yeah, this is a part of that wave that hit Harris County politics, where a lot of judicial appointments and
Yeah.
stuff just.
Well, everyone hates Republicans, so it's understandable.
Well, this is Ed Emmett was well known, who's a former Harris County judge, was well known for being a calm voice of reason. You know, when hurricanes, he's the one that invented hunker down.
I remember seeing a lot of positive things about him, and then basically when he didn't win, people were like, "Oh, we're doomed."
Well, we're not doomed yet, but this is interesting because Lena Hidalgo had a press conference yesterday or day before where she had like saying 3 things in a row that reporters are going, actually, no, that's not true. And she came out woefully unprepared. So this goes
first time on
this
camera.
goes beyond party lines. Just be, if you're going to have
You
a
always
press
say that,
conference,
but we know what you
no,
mean.
it's true. I don't care if she's Republican or Democrat. You're going to go out and do a press conference.
Well, no one's died,
know what
so
the
you
heck
can't
you're
blame her
talking
for
about.
anything. You can't blame her on the fire.
I wouldn't blame her on the. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, it sounds like
Unless
you want
it
to.
happened on. No, absolutely not. I miss Ed Emmett.
Does it ever happen in politics where someone creates like a fiasco and it's like, this is to bump my numbers?
Yeah, haven't you ever heard of the phrase "wag the dog"?
Yeah.
There's also a movie about
Yeah,
it.
with Dustin Hoffman. And,
Oh yeah, there are those that think that the entire Iraq War were
to bump numbers?
Bush's numbers.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds like it's something Dick Cheney would do, though, wouldn't it? Is that Dick Cheney, or are you talking about the Bush Senior?
Well, we
were
to
Iraq like several times.
Iraq was Bush HW.
Yeah, well, we were Iraq before that, weren't we?
No.
Where did Senior go?
Bush came.
Oh, your mic? Yeah, I'll turn your mic on. Go for it.
No, Bush Senior.
Dan is on the studio or on the air with us. Just to
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello.
So,
Bush Senior
is it
took
Bush
us
Senior?
to Iraq the first time. Yes.
So I wasn't
George
wrong.
Herbert
They
walked.
both went to Iraq.
Well, not personally, but yeah, we were involved
Well, they
with
took
Iraq
the country
War.
with weapons to Iraq.
Yeah. Iraq War I started with Bush Senior,
Okay.
and it's sort of been fizzling out under Obama, Trump era.
It really elevated under Junior, though, and at the time we went in, he had unanimous, overwhelming support to go in at that time. But you know what? Everybody grows weary when you see American boys coming home and
Oh, it's the Vietnam effect.
Can you imagine
Exactly.
Bush Jr. being a dictator?
Nope.
I don't imagine him being a dictator.
We don't have the vehicle to have a dictator in this country.
Maybe. You say that now.
No, even and this has been proven.
You ever seen The
recently.
Siege? You ever seen The Siege?
Yeah, I remember because they had to change
That's
the
a true
tagline.
story, right?
But let me tell you, I mean, there's calls to rewrite the Constitution. There's calls to do away with the Electoral
yeah.
College.
What are you talking
You know
about?
what?
It can change.
Hey,
Sean.
so there's a big segment of the population that says, "Hey, this Constitution was written a long time ago by a bunch of crusty old white guys, and things are different now."
the only thing that's been proven is
we need to redo it all.
They're white. That's the only thing that's been proven.
That
You can't
they're
say-
white?
You can't say crusty. That's not been proven.
Old white guys. So how popular is that right now?
Not very popular. I think. I feel fine. No one's really said anything
Said
negative
3
to
old
me.
white guys.
Well, no one's
radio.
approached me and
Too old
called
and
me
one.
crusty and white.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn,
So far,
you
so
damn
good.
kids.
But we are hearing in the news today, get rid of the Electoral College. We're hearing in the news today that the Constitution served a different time and place and purpose. Yeah. I mean, Beto.
What?
Can we talk political stuff?
Yeah, we
on
can
it?
do
I don't
whatever
know.
we
I mean, I
want.
don't want to get bounced out of here.
I mean, unless you want to promote something before we get into it. That way
I
you
mean,
can
I
actually,
just showed up and
Well,
just,
you know what? A lot of people when they say things like this, I always feel like, oh, you're on Twitter, aren't you? That's what I feel like because a lot of the things come from Twitter.
okay, or the most radicalized, right or left, right?
Yeah.
Put them front and center, and the inference is that this person is representative of mainstream, and that's not true. I mean, it's sensationalism.
And that's what I mean about the flat earthers. You get probably, I will join the society just so I can get the card, the membership card. But no one thinks the earth is flat who's worth talking about. But it's in the news and Facebook 24/7 because it's being turned into something that, OMG, these people believe that the earth is flat and we're all going to die as a result. And then outlets will try to bring it around to the current administration somehow.
So I'll share with you something as that affects markets because that's our business. We're in financial planning and portfolio management, and people try to tie their political views to maybe what's going to happen in the outcome of their investment strategy. And we've gone back. We have a research team that's gone back to 1926, and they've looked at equity rates of return all through Republican administrations, Democratic administrations, and the consensus is that any fair-minded person would see at the end of the day, if you look at the past 100 years, your portfolio really doesn't care who's in office. And truth be known, the equity rates of return have been actually stronger during Democratic
Really?
reigns. Yeah, and I know that's not a
Interesting.
popular topic because I know we're in a red area, and there's theories on that, why that goes back and forth. But I think our founders, going back to them, I think they created a near perfect system for us because there's an equilibrium found in all of this yuckiness and angst and all this division. There's a synthesis that happens, and it's like making sausage. It's not always pretty, but
let me ask you two things. Do you think from history, do you see people focusing more on a Republican president than a Democratic president?
In what context?
Well, just everything. Like, what consumes the day-to-day life of people? Because I feel like Trump is an outlier on that one because I feel like there's way too much focus on him every day.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the average person going through their life. They hear about Trump way too much. Because sometimes, I don't care. But some people are literally leaving CNN on, and they're like, can you believe this is happening to this world? And so I'm talking about in the history. Do people always? There's always that group of people in the United States that care about politics and they're focusing 24/7, or is it there's only when a Democratic president goes in or a Republican president?
No, I think it's grown more. I think it started. I think Reagan actually started the media. I don't want to say adulation, the media interest from presidents thereon. Like Obama was in the news every day too. But the coverage was less aggressive. But remember, that was because Obama pretty much shut down White House press conferences. He did not like press conferences, so he rarely gave one. Well, he was rarely in the news himself, so the media.
Like, can you imagine that being your job, the press secretary?
Yeah.
Where people are like expecting you to know every single little thing.
I would love that job. Are you kidding me? Figure out 58
you can't just
different
sit there
ways
and give
to
them
say,
the fall the finger.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna work at that level.
Just sit there and find 58 different ways to say, I'll get back to you on that or something. Oh, yeah. I know.
Do they actually get back to him? I don't know. Where's the follow-up on those things?
Oh, you have to, because you have, as obnoxious as someone like Jim Acosta is,
You have to be. There's a respect.
There's no respect with Jim Acosta anymore.
No, I
but
meant
he
more
keeps
of like,
digging
you ask
for
me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. So,
Yeah.
is the job of the press secretary not necessarily that video clip we always see? It's more of when they get in the video clip, they have the list of questions.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, this is what I'm doing for the next week.
Well,
I'm like answering all these questions.
The press secretary has to have the hope that they are asked questions, that the answers are on the sheet in front of them. Not knowing what questions.
Because they don't know the questions going
they're
into
leading.
it, right?
They're leading questions.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
93% of the documented press on Trump's been negative, despite the accomplishments
Where'd
that
that
he's had.
number come from?
Huh?
Where'd that number come from?
Q poll.
Hey,
I believe it. I'm not doubting that. But
let me take you back a little further. Kind of, we were talking about press and go back to Clinton. Wasn't the beginning of Clinton about where Rush Limbaugh kind of came in and blew up and talk radio, and I think Clinton gave Rush Limbaugh his career because he took this massive negative position about Clinton. And if you felt that way, okay, you're tuning into Rush every day. Rush all of a sudden became this
kind of like Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
With Art Bell.
Yeah. If you
Well,
work that
George
stuff,
Norrie.
you got
a lot
a
of this talk radio stuff was born out of. They say Rush Limbaugh single-handedly saved AM radio. I heard.
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I think if you create a entity like Rush Limbaugh, you're going to be making some money. So, because people listen to him. I don't know
but
why.
what did he have other than the against position of Bill Clinton? Every day he railed on Clinton.
Well, listener Brett brings up a good point on Facebook. He basically every single day, David Letterman's staff rifled through hours of presidential coverage of George W. Bush to find the most embarrassing items they could find. So I'm thinking, all right, so how much footage is there of the president?
It's a machine.
Because how much? I mean, like that seems.
Well, if you have a president who wants footage, like the Trumps of the world, he'll make sure he's center of the news every day. He
tweets.
Every day he makes sure that he controls the news story. President Obama was not a news fan.
He would have somebody else say it.
So yeah, he would not be. There would be very little. Because think about the photographs of Obama, and I know photographs are incredibly unfair. But there was one where he's wearing a traditional African garb, and all of a sudden the meme goes out that he's a ISIS sympathizer.
Yeah. It's not hard.
Obama had RBF, resting bitch face. He
Thank
did
you.
not. No,
Thank
it's
you
just
for that image.
what I'm saying. If so many photos of him would be kind of in a frown, but that was just his thing. But people, photographers take that and run with it. Oh, he's angry about this or that, and it's
You say
just
hangry?
yeah, he's hangry.
Okay,
He's hangry
I'm just
about
making
that.
sure.
But I think we don't trust the things that we see so much anymore because we've all seen the deceit and things where an image like that and then a meme's created and then it gets shared all around. I think it was more maybe like his Bo Bergdahl trade that made people think that maybe he's more sympathetic to the other side.
Right,
Because that was
Well,
something
see,
that
that was
wasn't
stuff that he wouldn't create.
Well, when it-
that wasn't a
press
guy picking his
conference
nose. That was that was the wonkiest frickin' deal, or the Iran deal. It's like, okay, how could you really be advocating for America with that trade?
But Dick, to go around to your question about do people care about the Republican or Democrat?
Well, is there attitude change? Is the
Yeah,
country's attitude change?
It is
when a
now because
Republican or a
the
Democrat?
schism is so great. And
Oh, yeah,
Babylon is
I
such a
get
drama.
now. I think now is
okay,
different. Like that's
let's do a
completely-
quick thing. Truman, Republican or Democrat?
I don't even know who that is.
Roosevelt.
Democrat.
Roosevelt.
I won't want to answer. I'm gonna.
You say which one, Teddy or Franklin?
Oh, I have no idea. Franklin was before Teddy, wasn't he?
Taft.
I don't know. I'm not a history.
I'm lost too.
I know William H.
Agnew.
Taft, right?
Agnew.
I don't know what link.
Which one's the guy who showed his junk?
No.
There was a president. Was it
No.
LBJ who got tapes caught? He's
Oh yeah.
showing people
Okay,
junk?
LBJ.
Showed his
Republican or
junk.
Democrat?
He's a Democrat.
Democrat.
Yeah, because he followed very good. Okay,
Who
Agnew.
did LBJ? Who did Social Security? LBJ? No.
Truman.
Well, the point is, see, what I'm saying is that people, we don't. Looking back in the country,
What was Kennedy? He was a
Democrat.
Democrat.
Yeah, Democrat.
But I don't
And
really.
that's why
They're a
But I don't-
Democratic
that's why Johnson was
dynasty.
Democrat because he took over for Kennedy.
But I do know Reagan. Everyone knows Reagan as a Republican.
And that's what I'm saying. Pre-Reagan,
Was
now-
he
well,
demonized as that because of what? Because he was an actor, or why? Why was he now people regard him as one of the best Republican presidents?
Well,
because he followed Carter.
we had that's a good point, but we had an economic boom that began under Reagan where he cut taxes. According to Dr. Art Laffer was his chief economist, and he came up with the concept it's taught in economic schools today called the Laffer curve, that there's an optimal amount of taxation, because if you tax 100%, you're not going to get any tax. If you tax 0, you won't get any tax, right? So he came up with that.
Where does 70% fall on that? Actually, let's bring this around to the financial because I know this is your bailiwick. So right now you have
what?
people.
His bailiwick?
Yeah, it's like
his
what
forte
I do.
It's
That's-
his
I
thing.
do what
Is that an English
That's
thing?
how I roll.
It's a thing.
Are we,
No.
is this show
No,
for
I got a
crusty old
ba-
white guys? Is that what we're doing?
I got a bailiwick, dude.
Yeah,
I like it. Okay, sorry.
Dick, let the grown-ups talk. Two crusty
Yes.
old white guys talk back and
Yeah.
forth.
I definitely showed
young
my IQ and my
whippersnapper.
age in the last 5 minutes.
So, what's going in the headlines right now is that you have those like AOC who are proposing the new Green Deal with a 70% tax rate. Now, my personal take is I don't think, and I say this with all my business degrees on the walls behind me, which are 0, that you should never break 50% on a tax rate. You should never, to me, it's a magic number that, okay, I'm giving back more than I'm keeping.
Is it kind of like the 99-cent thing? Never go to $1 when you're advertising?
Yeah. Oh, look at gasoline. When they say, it's $2.29, but and 9/10, it's literally 1/10 of a penny from $2.30.
You're more fair than the leftists because they will never say what's your fair share. They'll just say more. What's my fair share? And they never have an answer for that other than more than what it is.
Well, so the question is, under the new Green Deal, it's being proposed 70% on. How feasible is that? Does that fall into because I think the other day Dick and I were talking about cigarettes. I think under the Obama administration, there's we're going to tax the snot out of cigarettes, and that way we get more tax money. I thought, no, the more you tax it, the fewer cigarettes people are going to smoke, and you're going to actually lose revenue. That there's got to be the sweet spot where it's
the sweet spot.
right. So let's talk about, as you said, 100% tax rate. No, you're not going to get any tax. 0%. So obviously there's a range. Now, where does the 70% fall? Because that's the number being bandied about for the new Green Deal.
Okay, so first of all, I can assure you that AOC is not consulting with Art Laffer or really any economic theory about that. You mentioned the 70% tax, and you mentioned Reagan. Going back to Reagan's days, we had at that
And it's really, I think it's going to bite him hard.
Well, yeah, but I think that current situation, you're stuck. There's not a right decision there. you take it in the butt, or take it in the whatever, the kick in the butt, and then you just go forward with it.
Heard Trump have any sort of response or answer for it, and it is unsustainable. And I can tell Trump's hoping. I would hope that making money, building a company, all these things, but we like to talk about it.
Well, I mean, especially when what I've noticed as I grow up, there's certain directions my thoughts go to. Because like right now, I'm in the point of my life where I just got married, and there's definitely a future that we're building together, her and I, with the same goals. And I kind of ask my dad, because he's been what I see as successful, like where I would like to be.
Of course.
And then I see my brothers who I see like, oh, you're somewhere where I want to be. And you start asking these like you get detailed answers for questions that are simple as like, what do you do to make money? And then you're like, oh man, it's so much information. I don't really know about
like
that.
how do you invest? And then 3 hours later, you're going, oh God.
Yeah, well, yeah, and especially when you're like, when you finally get it, you're like, why wasn't I doing that when I was 15? That kind of stuff, because there's no going back. And I think a lot of people who are looking to better their situation in life don't really know until it's too late. I think a high percentage of people are faced with that. And I don't really know if it's a culture thing or if it's more of just human nature that we don't really care. We just live day to day and, those kind of things. But that's definitely something I feel like a school system or somewhere a leader could definitely tell people to start doing and showing how it works and how to do it. Because it kind of blows my mind that in public schools we don't teach practical things like that. And there's not even an option for it. Because I know there's a teacher, I bet, somewhere in the country that goes, I do extra school stuff afterwards. I'll teach you how to balance a checkbook because I believe you need to know that. And it's volunteer class.
Now, see, my social studies, when I was a kid, we did. I mean, even down in the lower grades, we had the fake market where, we all jockeyed. I want to be the cashier this time. And, we get the Monopoly money. And so they give us like $100 worth of play money, which back in the 70s and late 60s was an ungodly amount of money, but seeing how quickly it'd go away.
Yeah.
And I remember in 6th grade, they were like, this is a bank account. This is what a check. We even learned the cool thing that a check, if you had the routing number and account number and properly filled out, it could literally be on anything. The check from the bank you could actually spray paint it on a pig.
You can make your own checks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a great point.
And it's gone now. It's
Now, do you think, because I mean, what would probably be the scariest thing if someone came to you and said, let's take you back to 9th grade. Good luck. And because like I saw
if I went back then and knowing
math,
what I know now,
I was seeing the math because I have now nieces who are in middle school going into high school, and the math is nuts. I don't know if you
had you grown and compounded money, from that time, right? Is that what you mean?
Well, just know like how they do multiplication, how they teach it now.
Oh,
it's completely it's
compared to the
different.
Common Core.
Yeah,
the Common Core,
completely different. And I'm like, man, can you imagine? Like,
you watch a video on how do you solve an equation with Common Core?
Yeah,
I was just sitting there scratching my head like I must be a real idiot.
There was a split screen video they had, which is the same, and someone's doing it Common Core, someone's doing it normal style. It's fun to watch, and I think Common Core will be out the door soon enough. It really will.
Well, I mean, is that why you think people, like the driving force to send kids to private school, is that kind of
yeah,
material?
I think the public school system is whacked. I think, and when we have Bebe on tomorrow or something, these are things I want to talk.
It depends on the community, though. Whacked.
Promise of Montgomery County serves the needs of homeless families and their children. Learn about ways you can help and learn about partnership opportunities at www.familypromiseofmc.org or call our day center at 936-441-8778.
Are you one of those who feel that life is too short to drink bad coffee? Then come to Bean Pong Coffee. Bean Pong Coffee is open with 2 locations. Whether you're in downtown Conroe or historic Montgomery, we have the best fresh brewed and specialty coffee, delicious pastries, and courteous staff. Come visit us at 330 North Main Street in Conroe or 401 College Street, Suite 170 in Montgomery. Visit beanpongcoffee.com to see our complete list of special events.
A Lone Star Community Radio.
All right, we're back. We are back on Facebook and YouTube, so if you're a huge fan of that, make sure to check us out there. And we're still just chatting it up till about 11 o'clock today, so feel free to join in. Sorry for that break on the internet. I guess Suddenlink didn't like what we were doing. I think it was the topics, guys.
I don't
So-
know. We got all over the map there, Dick. And
I enjoyed it.
Oh,
I see no problem with it.
hey, I felt totally at home being able to talk politics and finance and taxes and all of these things.
Well, actually, let's take a moment real quick because I know you got to get going. Tell people what you do. Where can people find the podcast for Shrimp Tank Houston, and then also like you're a wealth
Sure.
advisor,
Sure.
and so stuff like that. So go ahead and just let people know about that
Okay,
stuff.
so we have an independent fiduciary-based financial planning firm in the Woodlands called Provident Wealth Advisors, and we're a small independent firm. There's 7 of us at the firm, and we take care of a couple hundred families and small business owners to help them with all of their financial planning, investment planning, taxes, and all of these different things like that. And so, shout out to my Houston.shrimptankpodcast.com. And of course, it's nationally syndicated now. Those shows are on iHeartRadio and on iTunes. But that's been so fun. I sit down for 45 minutes with fractional CFO for business owners. And, Barry talked about